Hi, Evelyn. Thank you for your questions and for your comments. Really, your experience as a school leader is invaluable in helping at least me to process this chapter, and is more of a reminder of why I was excited to be in this cohort with people in positions of leadership like yourself, because it's a perspective I would never get otherwise, and certainly adds a dimension of richness that I couldn't get just from reading chapters in the book like the one that we covered. So thank you for your perspective, and particularly for pulling out some of the things that you felt were most important. I thought your quote was really well chosen, saying that teachers cannot sustain learning contexts for students if they don't have a context that allows for such learning themselves. Right on the money, absolutely. I think that, and to your point about Alice's research, as well along the lines of PLCs. Luckily, Alice and Stepan and I are continuing that research this semester for Carrie's class, so that conversation will probably be continued even beyond the scope of this Google Plus discussion. So when you were asking about how do we make teachers or anyone in a school context who's uncomfortable with the use of data, maybe uncomfortable with this kind of collaboration and being a part of it, or maybe they just don't have the self-efficacy to be a part of it, how do we make them feel like true contributors to driving student achievement? And to that, like, one of the things that I was often thinking when we were reading the Lowney book was that that kind of ethos seems like it's somewhat lacking in some school environments, that teachers seem to feel like there's almost deficit thinking about them, and I know that some others in the class have alluded to this as well, not just deficit thinking about students, but deficit thinking about teachers, like looking for what's wrong with them. And whether or not that's actually true on the part of a principal or a school leader, I would say that those concepts being fostered by the school leaders who help create the school culture the most, as far as self-awareness and ingenuity in particular, would be so important, because that would be a way to say to teachers who don't have experience or at least confidence with data or the use of data and collaboration, to be able to say, you know what, this isn't a deficit, this is something that there's room for growth, there's room for change, and it's exciting to be able to change together, and it's exciting to be able to contribute to a stronger school together. So along those same lines, I was thinking that CEC teams might be able to help school leaders not to feel alone in the process of continually, as you mentioned, continually supporting teachers through the evaluation process, both of themselves and of the school, in the sense that they take away from that mentality that it's just one more thing to check off the teacher's to-do list, or the principal's to-do list, or one more area of finger pointing where they're going to be called out for their mistakes or for their deficits again. And instead, that if there is a process of evaluation happening that includes them as an individual, but also other teachers in the school as a whole, that they are really meaningfully contributing to school improvement in the long run, and that it's not just about, are you doing your job, but that they are making the school a better place for the kids who are there, and for everyone who's a part of the mission of the school. So I think that's probably a good way that we can support teachers continually, as you mentioned. To your point about whether teacher prep and credentialing programs are actually preparing teachers, especially for the technical aspects of being able to use data, the impression I'm getting, again, like I said the same thing to Kenzo, I'm not working in a school environment at the moment, but I am doing sort of a meta-analysis for Martha McCarthy as her research assistant, looking at precisely questions like that, at how schools of education prepare school leaders and how well they're doing for the things that school leaders really face. And I would say that from what I'm finding, it seems like that's not been the overall consensus, that in fact teachers are not being well prepared enough for that process in particular. And you were asking what could be implemented as a part of these programs to improve upon that. That's something I would actually be more interested in hearing your thoughts on this than my thoughts, because I think that you've probably been through more of those types of programs and seen teachers come out of those types of programs, and I'm curious if you've found that they are in fact not well prepared, or other cohort members. So I may throw that one to the team as a whole. It's one I don't feel super qualified to answer, and it's the same with Common Core. However, in case there's anybody who's not familiar with the TCRP evaluation, I'm also going to post that as a PDF link on the site if you'd like to take a look. And Evelyn, please feel free to let me know if it's not the right evaluation. I went looking for it on the net after you mentioned it, but if it's not the right one, feel free to repost. Thank you very much for your wonderful questions and your great perspective, and I look forward to continuing the conversation with you.